Hello, everybody, and welcome to Kyrus Has Friends, the interview web series where I sit down with the people that inspire me the most, and those people are my friends. Before we get to the guest of honor today, I just want to remind you, if you like what you're watching today, please be sure to follow me on your favorite social media channels. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter at The Vibe with Kai. You can also follow me on TikTok and on Snapchat at Kyrus Keenan. And then you can always visit my website at thevibewithkai.com, where I'm always posting videos and blogs and images and all this stuff that'll help you do good, feel good, be good, and live a good life full of good vibes. I just want to make you smile. That's my biggest thing. And then you can also get your Vibe with Kai merchandise. Of course, you can get your t-shirts and your hats and whatever you want, whatever your heart desires, if you go visit my website at thevibewithkai.com. But enough of that nonsense, enough of self-promotion. I have a special guest here with me today. A beautiful, beautiful Black woman in my presence. my good friend, my love, Danielle Harley-Scott. I don't think I've ever called you just Danielle.
No, it sounds weird when you say it.
It does sound weird if I just say Danielle. So I always have to call you Danielle Harley-Scott because it just rolls off the tongue.
You know. The three-name thing, Kyrus Kingdom Muscat. That's your name in my phone. So.
I love it though. I love it. How are you doing? How is life in quarantine world for Danielle Harley-Scott?
Life in quarantine world is great. I mean, not really. I'm an extrovert, so this whole staying in the house all the time is getting a little crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have my son who keeps me entertained most of the time.
And now, how old is he now?
He just turned 6 on July 8th, so.
And so as he just turned 6, how fast have these 6 years gone by for you?
Extremely fast. I was telling somebody the other day that just had a baby. I'm like, enjoy every cuddle because then they'll just come to a point where they don't want to hug you anymore. Or, they're outside playing with their friends and they're like, "Mom," right. I'm like, "Oh, it hurts my heart."
And now he's like his own, like, because you're a performer, which we'll get into in a second, but he's become his own little superstar in the world of performing. Is he enjoying that?
I mean, he's just a versatile kid, like one minute he's playing basketball, next minute he's singing a Broadway tune. I don't know what he's gonna do, but
he sounds like me, because that was pretty much my life. In middle school and high school, I played basketball, played baseball, football, and then I discovered theater, and it was just all downhill from there.
Yeah, he's so athletic. I tell him all the time, I'm like, you need your own channel. Like, you need your own sitcom, because he's really athletic, but he's hilarious too. So but when I put a camera to his face, he shies back a little bit.
No way. Well, he got to play. I think his go-to role is the son of Cole House Walker Jr. in Ragtime. Yeah. I think he's perfected that role at this point. Any ambitions of playing the role of Cole House Walker Jr.?
He always says one day he's gonna play it, but we'll see if he gets to that point.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Right.
I wouldn't put it past him. He's gonna. You know what? Here's what's gonna happen, Danielle. He's going to beat me out for that role one day. Like I'm gonna be like 60, 70 years old. I'm like, I can still play Cole House. And I'm going to show up to the audition. He's going to be there with his young, talented self. And he's going to be like, Kyrus, you're going to have to step to the side. I got it from here. Thanks, bro. You can play, what's his name? Washington. What's his name?
Right. I got this.
Yeah. you can go ahead and play something else. I got it from here. But what about you? So do you miss performing? Because obviously there's no theater going on right now, and I know that theater has been a major part of your life for quite some time. Do you miss performing?
I do. I was on the ride with everybody, it's only intermission, the whole it's only intermission, we'll be back, and now I'm like, oh my God, can we be back? It's interesting, but as an artist, you just create, while you're home, you're just hey, let me write this song, let me let me quote something, let me do this, I'm still finding ways. I'm a big part of my church, so I still get to sing all the time and find creative ways to bring, church to the social media world. So I still have ways of doing things, but I cannot wait to get back on the stage. Being home all the time and having all this free time, it's not normal to me.
Right. Been the scary part for me. But you're right. We're at a point now that we're kind of starting to get a little creative with our time and doing things. Are you recording an album?
I am working on some music.
You are a superstar. This is not fair. Why are you outshining the rest of the world right now?
I'm working on some stuff. I'm working with a producer, working on stuff for him. And in the meantime, I'm working on my own stuff too. So hopefully in the next year or so, I have something
How
out.
dare you? How dare you go out and do these incredible things? I envy you. How dare you? Now, what kind of music is it? Is it R&B? Is it gospel? Like, is it hard rock and country? Is that what it is?
Right, totally country. Like, no, it definitely is gonna be gospel. I'm working on something. I really want to bring like theater to life in church. So I'm working on something pretty cool. I don't want to give all my details away, but I'm working on something really cool that I'm hoping I'll be able to blend the two worlds that I love so much. Like I love God and I love being in church and I love theater and I just want to put them together.
Right. Well, that kind of transitions into the next question that I wanted to ask. So you're obviously a woman of faith. You've grown up in the church. You are at church every week, if not more often, and all that. How has faith guided you throughout this entire 2020? Because I feel like a lot of people seem lost and they're not sure where to turn in times like this when there's so much uncertainty and so much fear and anger and all of that. Has faith helped guide you through 2020?
It has. In the beginning I was very not gonna lie, I was very skeptical of this whole pandemic and stuff. I was like, all right, is this real? Is this for politics? Is this for money? But you know what? I believe in God and I believe that, he has orchestrated all of this. So I had to trust him, through it all. And so what I used was in the beginning, from March until about May, I used my faith and I would sing songs every day and post them on Facebook just to encourage everybody else. And it helped me. So I felt like I was still doing something, and just encouraging people that it's not going to be like this forever. Right. Things are going to turn around. I don't think we're ever going to go back to what normal was for us, but I'm excited to embrace whatever the new norm is.
Right.
So yeah, my faith has definitely been the thing that's kept me, because a lot of people don't know, but for years I dealt with anxiety. I don't anymore, but I did for years, and so something like this normally I would be going crazy, but my faith has definitely been so strengthened that I'm like, hey, I'm good. We're good.
Right. Well, it's a shame. It's a shame, Danielle, because you're an awful singer. You're just terrible, so I just don't know how you can sit there and just sing all the time. You're just awful. I'm kidding, of course, because you are an incredibly talented singer. Did you learn what you know from singing in church, or was it from elsewhere?
Yeah, music has always been my life. It's so funny. I was talking to someone the other day and I was like, both sides of my family, my dad's side and my mom's side, all great singers, all great musicians. I have cousins that are studying abroad and, people that are recording artists. And so music has always kind of been the thing that has helped me in every storm that I've ever had to face in life. Music has been the thing to transcend. And so the way that I communicate with God the best is through music. Right. So, a song will either I'll hear it and I'll feel like that's him talking to me, or I'll sing something. So sometimes I'll literally sing when I'm praying, because that's just the way that I communicate with him. So yeah, music has kind of been that thing.
So I do want to kind of transition back to the theater side of things, because if there's one topic that has been of note as of late, especially in the New Jersey theater world, it's Black representation and diversity. I don't know if you've heard or not, but there's been some discussions about said topic. Are you familiar with said topic?
Yes, I am. I'm over it.
I'm curious. What have been your thoughts right now? Where do you stand right now with your just personal, honest thoughts on where things stand right now?
Okay, my personal thought is, one, we're in a pandemic. So all of these things that we are demanding from theaters right now, we don't even know if they're going to be able to open come 2021 or the end of 2020. I am a big advocate on, if somebody doesn't give you something, create your own type thing. So while I am all for like, hey, we need more representation, I'm doing my part as an individual to that representation, you know, to sit on a board, to sit amongst directors and producers and actors and ask the questions, why, you know, why aren't we seen this way? Why, you know, but for me, it's about the inclusion. Like, let me sit at the table, you know, but I have not had the stories that many people have had.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you,
as far as like not being included, you know what I'm saying? I've never not felt like I didn't belong at a theater.
Do you feel that people like me, to put myself out there, do you feel like people like me have been going too far with what we've been requesting from theaters?
I don't think it's too far, but I will say this. I actually had a conversation with your cast of The Wiz, some of your cast members. And I feel like there needs to be a conversation that we all have together.
Sure.
You know, for years, you know, our people always came together and they talked and they communicated and it was unified. There's so many of us that are saying so many different things that it's very hard to, when I am at a table with a theater, it's very hard for me to articulate what exactly everybody wants, because I may be thinking differently than you or, you know, the person or whatever. So that's been the more difficult or overwhelming thing for me is, you know, trying to figure out like, how can I bridge this gap where, you know, I can sit with a generation that's above me and a generation, you know, under me and talk, you know, because I was actually told I was old the other day.
You are, how old are you, 60, 65?
You're right. Well, I look good if I'm 65. I was told I was too old. I'm in my 30s, and they told me that, you know, you're not a part of the upcoming generation of Black actors. And I was like, oh, it hurt my heart. I was like, all right.
You felt some sort of way about that.
I'm like, wait a minute, what?
You know, it's funny that you bring up the point of being able to articulate what the Black community is feeling right now, right? And one thing that I said in a statement that I released a couple weeks ago or last week is that I said, at no point can I sit here and say that I can speak for the entire Black community, because I can't, right? Having said conversations with a lot of, you know, Black artists and stuff like that, if there's one thing that I've learned, it's that we all have our different ideas and our different thoughts on the process. There's no one way to go about, you know, handling the situation. So I think for me, the only thing that I call for at this point is for theaters to just have that in their brain and to do what they can to branch out a little bit, because you talk about survival, right? And I think that a lot of theaters perhaps won't be able to survive unless they open up their doors and get a little bit more creative with their ideology behind, you know, casting and getting people in the doors, you know, and all that. Because, I mean, let's be real, most of these theaters are not going to survive this pandemic.
They're not.
They're not going to survive.
You know, that's the sad part about it. It's like, wow, you know, I you know, for me personally, when this person said that I was old, first I got offended, but then I thought about it, like, you know what, I am, like, because I am, you know, I work, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I do a lot of things in my church, so I am very picky, and like, I pick what I want to do, what shows I want to be a part of, what theaters I want to be a part of. So I'm not out here like grinding like somebody that's 10 years younger than me, you know, like I'm pretty much settled. You know, I do theater because I love it and it's always going to be a part of who I am. I'm not trying to at this point make it a career. So for me, you know, I don't go out for the auditions that don't necessarily call for me. And what I mean is that I've played parts that weren't necessarily with Black women, but I felt like, hey, I can play that role. But I don't have time to try to change so much about the shows that are out now and things like that. So but the same thing, like, I'm like, I feel bad for these theaters, not for what we're saying and what we're asking for. That's fine. But I just feel bad because I'm like, we're asking for things that I don't even know if they're going to be able to deliver next year. You know, and I want to have the conversations and I want to sit and I want to help and I want, you know, better inclusion. Like, I don't want just, you know, oh, I picked you because you're Black. I want you to pick me because I'm talented. Sure. You know, I'm the added bonus is that I have Black magic, but I want you to pick me because
Black magic. I love that.
I have Black magic. You know, I want you to pick me because hey, this girl can sing, but the bonus is that she's Black. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of been my thing, because for me, I'm also, you know, I ride for a plus size singer who may not ever get a chance to play the hopeless romantic because of her body image. Well, she sings better than this person. Why can't she have that role? So for me, we're going to do this. And this is what I've been saying to the theater I work with. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. Like, we're going to include, you know, we're going to include people, and we're going to do what we need to do to keep thriving. But we can't do it just, to shut this group up. Let's be quiet. Let's give them what they want for the next season, but then go back to what we're doing, you know, normally. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just it's a Black thing right now because that's the people that are hurting. But how do we move on beyond that once it's time?
Sure, especially to the Hispanic community, the Latino community, the Asian community, you know, as well. Yeah, I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg for a lot of people. It just happens to be incredibly relevant right now, given what's happening in the world right now. I guess it's funny that you said that you were saying what you're saying today, because I actually, out of all the conversations that I've had, I've never gotten that viewpoint before, and it's really interesting that you say that in regards to how you feel about it, because it's quite often has been obviously the other side of things. And I find it very interesting, you know, hearing that from you. So I appreciate you saying that, because I mean, that makes me think about, you know, the way that I approach things as well. I think for me, I have experienced, you know, a little bit of like that, like, oh, come on, kind of feeling, you know. Not saying that you haven't, because I know you say that you haven't, but I think you have, just maybe even without even realizing, in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I think my personality is so different in a sense where I am one of those people that, like, okay, you might have cast me, you know, you might have asked me to play this Black role, whatever, but then I take it a step further. Like, if you didn't ask me, you wouldn't have all these butts in these seats. Like, you know, like, I want you to value me as a person.
Sure, that makes sense.
So I try to make people, you know, show me respect. I don't want you to be afraid of me or respect me because I'm a Black woman and I'm a Black woman that has an attitude problem. I want you to respect me because who I am. I demand respect because of my personality.
Right. So the viewpoint that you have, when you've been saying that to other Black artists that you speak with, what have their reactions been to that?
I was told I was a sellout.
Really?
Yeah, I was told a sellout. I was told that I'm not protecting the Black community. On the opposite side, I've been said almost the same thing you said, like, wow, I never thought of it from that viewpoint, or, you know, and those are more the mature people that, you know, talk. But basically it's like, well, how could you know, I'm not an all lives matter person. That's not who I am. I am Black Lives Matter. You know, I have a Black son. So, and what I try to explain to people is my fight is a little bit different, because I have a son that I'm raising. I can send you a video later. He literally said to me the other day, I don't want to be a police officer anymore. He's been wanting to be a police officer since he's 1.
Wow.
And he said, Mommy, I don't want to be a police officer anymore. I said, well, why not? And we were driving in the car, and then I recorded him later, and he said, because they kill Black people.
Wow.
And so for me as a mom, my focus is more about, hey, I need this world to change, because I don't want to one day let my son, who's an athlete, go running and jogging and he not return because of the hands of a white man or someone who hates him. And so you know, my son tends to play the quote unquote different sports. You know, he plays soccer, he plays, you know, he likes baseball, he likes the things that necessarily you don't see a lot of Black people in. And I don't want him to sit in a soccer field and not, you know, and have, you know, them not put him in the game or them treat him a certain way because he's Black. So for me, my fight is beyond just theater, because that's my thing. My fight right now is like, yo, get those cops, like, tell these people, make this stuff change. So when my son gets to the age where he's driving in a car, I don't have to have that hard conversation with him. Because I'm at the point where I have to start explaining things to him. He heard me and my husband having a conversation about George Floyd and asked Mommy, well, what happened? Why is everybody so sad? I tried to keep it from him as much as I could, but it's everywhere. And so now he has his own, you know, thoughts and views on a cop and a police officer and things like that I have to try to change. But the reality is this is what's going on. So for me, when I'm talking to, you know, Black artists, and I'm, like I said, I am Black Lives Matter, and I will fight, I will protest, I will be out there with every single person, but my fight goes beyond, you know, me playing Little Mermaid, me playing Ariel in Little Mermaid. You know, like, it's great.
I would love to see that, by the way. I would love to see you as Ariel.
All the time. And I would do it, and I would be a part of it. But my fight is a little broader than that.
That's fair. So is it fair to say, just to kind of play devil's advocate here, is it fair to say, like, obviously your fight is different, which is completely understandable, right? Given your, like, the part of your life that you're in right now. Is it fair to say that for other artists that may not be in your position, is it fair to say that the way that you feel about, you know, your son getting opportunity to live his life, do you feel that it is in any way similar to a young Black artist that feels that they have not gotten the opportunity to perform because of their skin color? Like, when people say that, like, do you understand, like, that aspect of things?
Yeah, I definitely understand it, and I get it. Yeah. It's about, for me, it's about approach. It's about how we go about doing it. You know, like, you are a director, and you know, you are given opportunities to cast who you want. You know what I'm saying? Cast talent is, like, what I like to say. So for me, it's like, hey, he has that opportunity, so let's build upon that. That's what I mean when I'm saying, like, collaboration, and it's a word that people often use when they say, like, the ecosystem. We're like, let's play on the fact that you're a photographer, and let's give these Black artists, these children that don't have an opportunity to spend lots of money on headshots and don't have the professional look that their friend at a theater camp that's spending all this money has. So let's give them this same opportunity. Hey, let me reach out to a Kyrus, or let me reach out to a different, you know, photographer that will give them that opportunity. That's where I am. I am about creating opportunities for these young people that they won't have to go through what we go through. But it's about approach. And I'm not saying that anybody's approach is wrong, or, you know, whatever, because everybody has a certain way that they have to do things. The way that I was taught as just from my parents, the way I was brought up was, you know, you sit at a table until you can create your own. And so you sit at a table so that you can be, not necessarily speak for people, but you can create opportunities for your people until you have the resources to be able to, hey, I got my own table, and now I'm creating more opportunities. And so for me, I am all about, again, I said this to a young lady, I said, hey, I'm all about, like, fighting for y'all to get your seats and get, you know, get in positions and get the roles and be able to direct the shows and do all of those things. I'm all about that. But it's just about approach. And I think sometimes, because I'm a little bit nicer in the way that I speak, not saying that you are, but I'm saying just in general, people, and the way that I'm a little nicer in the way that I speak and how I communicate, and, you know, I think the approach is just a little bit different. So I get what I want. You know, I get what I want, because I'm not coming from a place where I'm angry, but I'm not going to treat you differently. I'm just going to tell you that this is what we need to do.
Right. So where do you think things go from here? Like, what do you, like, given the current situation with the pandemic, with how people are feeling about Black theater in New Jersey and all of this, what do you feel is the best case scenario out of all of this, you know, at the end of the day?
I do believe that theaters need to include more diversity on their boards, on their production teams. I think that will help. I think once, you know, I see somebody that looks like me, I feel more comfortable, quote unquote, to be a part. I do, you know, also believe that, you know, we need to go beyond just doing ethnic shows. I love it, because that's just my area. That's who I am. But I do realize that.
Okay, Effie.
Right, you know. Because when y'all see me back on stage, that's what you're gonna see me.
Hey.
But I do, you know, I would love to see a mixed cast of Next to Normal. But I don't want to. What I don't want to see is, like, an all Black cast of it. And see, that's where I'm a little different.
No, you don't want to see that?
I think it would be awesome. I think it would be really cool.
You just don't think that they should purposely go out and do that?
Like, why can't we have, like, a Black woman and a Black man have interracial children? You know what I'm saying? Like, biracial children. Like, why can't we have an Asian Henry? Like, why do we have to, you know, why can't we have a transgender Gabe? Like, why do we have to just stay in the, like, because families are blended now.
Yes.
We see blended families now.
Yes.
You know, we don't necessarily. I mean, I come from a black family, obviously, but my family's all blended. We have all different types of races.
Right.
So like, let's give people what they actually should see now. You know, let them see what America looks like. You know what I'm saying? It's more of our melting pot. It's very blended. So why I think it's cool. I mean, of course I would pay top dollar to see a all black cast of Nocturnal, but it's just not my thing that I would want to produce. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
But for me, and again, my biggest fear is that I just don't want South Jersey theaters to just quote unquote give us what we want. And what I mean by that is like, hey, give us what we want, but don't like shut us up for the next year.
Right.
If we're gonna do it, let's
do it.
Let's do it. Let's let that become our reality. Let that be the new normal. Let that be, you know, but I do think we start with putting more diversity on our boards, putting more diversity in our production teams, because then that will help create a picture for to see actors. And I think we as people need to go out and audition for those shows that don't call for Black people. You know what I'm saying? I'm guilty of it. I only go out for the shows that because of my time, and you know, but maybe I should go out for Ariel and Little Mermaid, or maybe I should take a chance. And it's not because, and if I was never the type that I'm not taking a chance because I'm not going to get the role. I was just more like, that's not just really something I'm interested in. But maybe me being a quote unquote leader or more mature, maybe if they see me doing it, it'll cause these younger people to feel comfortable to do it. Because that's what I keep hearing. It's just the uncomfortability of that.
You know, it's funny, given our differentiating like opinions on a little bit, we still end up in the same spot.
Absolutely.
You know, which is really interesting, because I like everything that you just said in the last minute, 2 minutes, I agree with 100%. And I think a lot of people are calling for similar things. I think, like you said, though, it's the approach, and the approach to get there is I think where people get a little, where the water gets a little muddy, you know, where the path starts to vary off a little bit. But what's funny is that we always end up back in the same spot.
What we want. We all kind of want the same thing. Like you said, we've been saying, it's just the approach of how to get there. That's the thing, you know. But we all want the same thing.
Right. Well, I really do appreciate you sitting with me. You know, I love you to death. And
sorry, my son's on his phone. He has a phone at 6. So he's
he has a phone at 6. I didn't get a phone until high school. Are you kidding me?
I was 14 when I got a cell phone. He got one at 6. My parents.
This is not okay. My first phone was a Motorola. What do you call it? Razor. I had a Razor.
I had a Virgin Mobile. I didn't even have a plan. Okay, I had to buy my minutes. Okay, my kid has been FaceTiming his cousins all day, and I'm like, grandparents, listen, I'm telling you, it's a real thing.
That's so funny.
They change on you. Parents change when they become grandparents.
Oh man, I can't. But I'm so happy that we got to sit and talk. You know, I love you to death, and I can't wait for this whole thing to be over so we can hang out and sing and dance and act together. Because the last time that we were, what's up?
You haven't been able to come to our pool.
What pool? You have a pool?
Yes, I have a
pool. You didn't tell me this.
I said I've been swimming all summer.
I had no idea. How am I supposed to know you had a pool?
Well, I'm sorry.
Well, I'll definitely come down to the pool. Let's go. I love you to death. Really, honestly, I can't wait to take the stage with you again and just hang out with you again and all of that. Have a wonderful birthday party today for the 6-year-old. That's just, oh my gosh, it's getting too old. To the future Cole House Walker Jr. Right. and you alluded to this before. The next time we see you on stage will be Effie in what do you call it? Dreamgirls, which is exciting. I know, fingers crossed. Well, I'm looking forward to that, Danielle Harley-Scott. I appreciate you more than you know, more than you realize. Friends watching, if you enjoyed what you just watched just now, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter at The Vibe with Kai. You can also follow me on Snapchat and on TikTok at Kyrus Keenan. Visit my website, thevibewithkai.com, if you want blogs and videos and all things that'll help you be good, do good, feel good, and live a good life full of good vibes. Once again, Danielle Harley-Scott, thank you so much for your time. Everybody else, have a wonderful day and good vibes.
Bye.
We did it.
Yay.
We did it. Yay.